Good afternoon, folks. I'm Aaron, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to show you what I call my no-guess tillering method. This method was inspired by Eric Krewson, who developed a tool called the Tillering Gizmo. Well, if you don't know what a Tillering Gizmo is, something you can Google after this. But it's basically a tillering method that helps you to judge the bend on staves like this one that have some wiggles in the edges of them. So you see little wiggles like this right here. They can really fool your eye when you're trying to judge what is bending and exactly how much it's bending. So in order to do this method, the first thing you got to do is draw some straight lines on the side of the bow. So I take a 6-inch straight edge. This is a card scraper, and I lay it on the side of the bow, and I draw a 6-inch line. I move the straight edge down to the next section, draw another line, and so on. I go over the entire bow this way. Now I have a series of straight lines on the bow. And it doesn't really matter what length you make those lines, but with some staves they're going to be so curvy that these short 6-inch sections are going to come in handy. So once you've got the lines drawn all the way down the bow, then you can start tillering as you normally would, and as I normally would tiller. I start with a bathroom scale on the floor, and then just a regular what's called a tillering stick. I'm going to put the bow on the tillering stick, just center it up. Whoops. I lost my string again. These here. So once again, bow on the tree. I'm going to pull to 40 pounds. And because this stave is really just barely at floor tiller, 40 pounds is really only going to get me, it's only about 12 inches I'm pulling it. But now is where these lines come in handy, because it's a little hard for me to judge what's bending based on looking at just the side of the bow. But if I take an area like this that's got a big old wiggle in it, it's also got a straight line going through it. So I'm going to take my scraper, and you'll notice that it has a little piece of tape on it that sticks up just barely above the surface of that straight edge. That's going to help me judge the bend, because now I hold the straight edge up to the straight line, and I can see that the line is bowed like this a little bit, and I can judge exactly how much it's bowed by using that little triangle of tape. And I can see that there's a gap of maybe, I want to say, 1/2 millimeter that I've created by tillering or by bending. Then I'm going to check this side. How much of a gap is there? I'm going to check this one. How much of a gap is there? And by comparing and measuring each section of the bow, I can basically measure how much each section is bending without having to judge by just looking at it. This technique I only use for the very beginning part of tillering. for that part of tillering where you don't mind leaving your bow bent while you sit there and carefully measure. For me, that's maybe about the first, I want to say 10 to 15 inches of tillering. I don't bring the string really much past 15 inches with leaving it hooked onto a tillering stick like that. But it does help me nail the tiller early on, and especially for bows like this, which are bendy handle but narrowed, and also have some wiggles in the side. It helps me judge exactly, it helps me not just judge but measure exactly how much this bow is bending. The other benefit of this technique is that these lines help you monitor set. And as you do tillering, if your limb is taking a permanent bend or set, then that tells you you're bending that part too much. And so once this bow is relaxed, I can again take this straight edge and check to see if these lines are still straight. And if they're not still straight, I know that that bow has taken set, and I can measure how much set that bow has taken in that place. So I hope this helps you with your own bows, whether you've got wiggly edged ones or this works for straight ones too. It helps you actually measure how much your bow is bending instead of just guessing at it, and it helps you monitor emerging set so you can keep track of how good a job you're doing with tillering. Thanks very much. See you next time.